Hi Camila, it is so great to have you here today with us. We are so excited to be able to ask you a few questions as the producer of this anticipated opening film, The Unseen. So, for our first question, we want to know, how did you integrate technologies into this project of yours? Okay, so how did we integrate technologies into our project? That's a good question. Okay. In terms of technologies that were integrated during editing, we have platforms that we used, such as CapCut and Canva. I mainly use CapCut for all of the editing of the videos, such as the cuts, trimming, sound effects, sound layering, and on Canva, all I really focused on was the title of our film and then the opening credits that roll after it. But that's pretty much it. Most of it was done all on CapCut, and then like the last steps were done on Canva. So Camila, what type of equipment did you use to create your opening film? We used an iPhone 16 Pro. It's not only like an available resource that we have, but it is also a very good filming tool. For the found footage aspect, we decided to use a Sony Handycam. We used it because not only does it have like a lesser quality, so it's more grainy, it's giving that found footage effect. I feel like there's just a more generic filming camera that we think of. And lastly, we also used a phone stabilizer. It was very handy because a lot of times when you're holding your phone like that, your hands, my hands get really shaky when I use it. Okay, a little bit to the left. Yes, perfect. Oh, we're filming. Okay. Okay, remind me the question when we're done. Of course. The question is, how did your production skills develop throughout this project? Okay, so in terms of directing, there's just a lot that comes into play, especially, developing these skills that you need. One of them being like dealing with people and organizing them. It's a lot more of a challenge than, we lead on it. You're like trying to make sure that we can really wrap this up and finish filming. So it's definitely a challenge to really keep everyone organized, tell them where to go. We only had one day, so it wasn't like, oh, if we end up not liking the way a shot came out, we can go and redo it. There's no redoing for this. Not only did I have to do the shots in the script, but I had to make sure that I did extra shots as well, because I needed to make sure there was enough footage for my editor to work with. And there was times we'd get to the set, and like, we've never been there before. It was our first time. We had to go around through different buildings. We went through like 6 different buildings looking for the perfect one. And you thought your shot was gonna look a certain way in your head. Then you get there and obviously it's not exactly what you imagined in your head. So then you have to sometimes like change shots from the script, like improv the shots right there. I'm like, okay, I don't like this, so we have to do a close-up shot here and like a mid shot over here, and I don't like that we had originally, so we're gonna do this. So I think those are skills that you start to develop as you're directing, because like you don't realize that there's so many challenges that you have to overcome, like just during filming. Okay, the development of my production skills as a cinematographer, definitely did not see any of it coming, if I'm being honest. We get there and all of a sudden they pull out a skateboard and I'm like, this was not in the script. Like, when did we have a skateboard? And then they're like, the director tells me, oh no, hop on. They pull out a rope and they're like, don't worry, hop onto the skateboard and we're gonna tie a rope on you in order to accomplish a dynamic shot, which is the tracking shot that we wanted. We actually had several tracking shots, only like one of them or two made it into the actual film. Another dynamic shot that we did was the camera dropping. So we're gonna grab the camera, we're gonna drop it with the rope to give like the impression that the camera's falling.
And so it doesn't break.
Yeah,
And it didn't fall on my
it's
book
not a
bag.
camera.
Yeah, right.
And we're gonna backpack under this.
Perfect.
Like, the way that you have to get so creative when you're filming, because you have to imitate certain stuff and you don't have always like the proper equipment to do it. The creative process of trying to find a way to get the shots that you want is so rewarding, honestly. Like, when you see it at the end, it's like, wow, I can't believe like we went from this and we managed to get creative and like end up coming up with what we ended up coming up with. Okay, well, in terms of my skills developing throughout this project, it pushed my skills to a level I didn't even know they could reach, because everything I had was all I could have. Like I couldn't ask for for retakes, nothing. I couldn't ask for another scene. I couldn't be like, I didn't like this scene, redo it. There's no redoing. And I had to work with what I had. And that was one of the biggest struggles of editing. Either I liked the dialogue but I didn't like the scene, or I liked the scene but I didn't like the dialogue. So I have to extract voices and start sound layering, and because the scenes they were looking too choppy, I had to sound layer the scenes together so they could blend better. There's so much sound layering. Also just me getting a better understanding of how to edit with the CapCut program. And I also did color gradation because it really gives a different mood when you use color gradation. So since we really wanted to make that huge contrast of being kind of happy whenever a teen exploring to that everything went wrong and dark. So what I did was that for the color gradation at the beginning, I used a warm hue, and it makes everything brighter. As you can see, the top one is a lot brighter than the bottom one that's very dull. And I did the opposite for the scarier, darker aspect. I did a cooler tone, and this was more greenish. It's giving a more scary vibe. It's very subtle because I don't want it to be overpowering, so that's the only thing the audience focuses on. But it's just those little details that really help bring the film together.
All right, Camila, thank you for your time and your production crew's time. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much.
And I think that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in.